All right, you are live and unmuted.
Right there. I guess we'll call this to order. The minutes of the previous meeting were disseminated. You guys had a chance to look at them. I'll move that we accept you. I'll second it. Be moved to second to approve the minutes as constituted. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Turn off one of the microphones. There. We're not going to order. Turn that one off. You speak wrong. Yeah, I'll turn it off. Is that better? Is that better? There we go. Perfect. Okay. First item on the agenda is to discuss HVAC permits. Is that you, John?
Yep.
Okay, go for it.
So with the HVAC program, June 1st, we took over the HVAC permits for the city of Rigby. I was waiting to do the other cities, the city of Manan and the city of Louisville, until we had a plumbing and electrical inspector. So I only had to go to them once. That's proving to be a little bit more difficult. So in the next couple of months, I'll probably go to Manan and Louisville and see if we can start doing just their HVAC. That's all I have with HVAC.
So you're trying to just do the county, not the individual cities, that was tough to do because they're permitting through with you guys.
Yeah, so we do the building permits already for the city of Rigby, Manan and Louisville. And then we have Brian as our HVAC inspector, so we started those in the county in January. And then we started the city of Rigby HVAC inspections June 1st. And then I was waiting until we found an electrical and plumbing inspector to go to Manan and Louisville. But since we've had some trouble finding those inspectors, then I'll probably just go to those cities and see if we can at least start HVAC, you know.
How's it going with Rigby? I mean, is that fairly done money or?
Yeah, being June 1st, we've had quite a few applications, for city of Rigby HVAC permits, and they've been just like the ones in the county, so it's going pretty smooth.
Okay, good. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Item number 3, discuss your electrical and plumbing programs.
Yeah, so the electrical and plumbing program, originally with that idea to have those inspectors, we wanted to do it on a contract basis. So we had PQFs posted for 2 months, and we had 2 coming applications, but we learned that it would be really expensive for us and homeowners and contractors to do it on a contract basis. The permit fees would have to be a lot higher than what the state is, to be able to afford those inspectors, and pay them what they want. And so we posted, as part-time employees, we posted those in June, to be a part-time employee to do electrical and plumbing inspections, for residential and commercial, and then their plan reviews. And we haven't had any applications with those yet. So if you guys know anybody.
So if I could jump in, what's unique about this situation? Maybe I haven't experienced in other states and maybe.
State your name and your address.
Experience. So, is the permits are all individual, right? We have the building permit, we have the HVAC, the electrical, plumbing. I mean, if we were gonna do all those inspections and we grouped all of those into one permit process and one permit application, I mean, what does that look like? Is that, did anybody else do that? Probably not because of the state, right?
I think it would be a lot nicer
Yeah, it'd be a lot cleaner for sure.
when Jared comes in to get a building permit.
Yeah, he turns in one application and it covers all of those
Yeah.
things, right? So we might be able to pull off an electrical and plumbing inspection program if we were to group those together.
Yeah, get them all together. Were they trying to do it by a contract basis per individual inspection?
Yeah.
Was it like $100 or something that they wanted, is that Garrett, or is that what they kind of proposed? That number, $100 of inspection?
Yeah, that's what I heard from the other ones that do it on a contract basis, was that they want $100 of inspection. Well, I mean, which makes sense when they're paying for their own vehicles and their own gas, insurance.
Things, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you're gonna be into it an hour by the time you leave what you're doing, go where you're going.
exactly.
Yeah.
Then you follow up and everything else you gotta do with it is also, but yeah, that's why I thought it was $100 per everyone.
Yeah,
So we've looked at trying to find some folks to do it, to come on as employees. We just haven't got any commitments.
what's also unique is that, I don't remember the name of who was proposing the bill at the state level, but somebody was working on a bill to eliminate state inspections completely, by the year 2029 or 2030, which would put a lot of strain on the local and smaller departments like ours and the smaller cities to be able to go and find those inspectors, to be able to do that if they eliminate the state doing those inspections. So I'd really like to get ahead of that, so we're not scrambling at the last moment if they do end up eliminating them. We have some time to start those programs and find those inspectors.
So if they eliminate them, I mean, it probably would not say that, oh, we're gonna kick more money to the county, because we've eliminated a service that we provide.
Right.
But now you're gonna pick it up and go, and in addition, we're going to limit how much you can charge for, property tax, so,
Yeah.
okay.
What's really interesting about that is the plumbing and electrical will have to be journeymen in the state to do those inspections.
Would they remove state requirements if they remove the ability to provide the inspection?
I have tried to,
I mean, that makes sense to me. If they're gonna say, well, we're not gonna do it anymore, then don't tell us how to do it.
yeah, I've tried to reach out, to different people that know who's presenting that bill, and even the person that's working on the bill, and haven't heard anything back. Because what I would like to see as part of that bill, or even after that bill, is to eliminate them being a journeyman, which would make it a lot easier
I mean, yeah, I would
to have those inspectors.
Journeyman, is that a 2-year?
4 and 5 years. I think plumbing's 5, electrical's 4.
It's essentially a bachelor's degree.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
no, but I
How
mean,
many
in
hours?
terms of the hours.
Hours you put in,
It's
yeah.
it's essentially a bachelor's degree, so.
good luck finding somebody.
Yeah, so I mean, if you guys know anybody that's retired and wants to work part-time to do those inspections, let me know.
But they wouldn't still have to be the journeyman level.
Yes.
Any discipline, right?
Yeah, they would have to be a journeyman, prefer them already be certified.
Okay. Anything else on that one?
That's all I have for that one.
Okay. The roofing permits inspection.
Yes, so this one, let me switch the screen. Can you guys read that? So this, I emailed this out yesterday to all of you, but this idea would be an administrative process. It wouldn't be adopted into an ordinance. And this came up because our administrative process before with a re-roofing permit was that if anything structural is changed, so if sheathing has to be replaced or trusses, then you would need the re-roofing permit. I've had a lot of discussions with our attorney about the roof permits, and he would like to see either all re-roofing permits, all re-roofing jobs have a permit regardless, structural, non-structural, or none of them. We just delete that part out of our code.
What's these, logic behind that?
He's had a lot of lawsuits around roofs, roof leaks, and you know, it's an important inspection, but we don't get on ladders, so we don't get on roofs. It's hard to see everything from the ground, so this process would allow us to be able to see more of the roofs on new construction and on re-roofing permits by taking pictures, videos of different stages of the roofing process so we can inspect it that way. Yeah.
So we put the onus on installers to provide that information for.
Yes.
At what point do they need to provide it?
So I would like to see when the drip edge, flashing, ice and water and underlayment is down, so we can ensure that was installed and installed correctly. And then, a couple of different spots as they're nailing the shingles, for an asphalt roof. And then the final product we can typically see from the ground. But a metal roof.
So they would have to come in, provide that information to you. I mean, could it be done email or?
Yeah, they could send an email, they send pictures, text message.
Yeah, you can text, whatever, okay.
Yep. Yeah, so a little bit more responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, a little
The
bit, but not-
installers and the
not
contractors.
appreciable, but not
Yeah,
certainly better than saying you gotta come out and look at it. I mean,
right.
Is there a lot of problems with roofs right now?
Not necessarily, we've just had the confusion and the old administrative process on where do we draw the line on existing and re-roofing. What triggers that permit, what doesn't, and I think we just, as we grow up, I think we need a better administrative process for it.
So right now, if you have to replace sheeting, that qualifies at that point?
As needing a permit, yes.
is that logic because it's structural?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing that I see is when they don't replace it. And I don't know how you catch that though, right? Because you're catching the guys that are doing it right, not the guys that are just saying, oh, we're fine, it'll be okay.
Right.
I do believe that obviously, you know, when there's structural damage to the trusses, especially a broken one or is for a valley that doesn't have a proper amount, you know, that's gonna allow it to be leaked, but Cause in a valley, I mean, just between the spreads on that, you know, when they don't put anything underneath it, that's like 34 inches that just flexes and actually your leaks happen, but, that's a tough one, because you guys used to go, you know, like, at the sheeting inspection portion of it, we had to find a road, but for you guys to get up there. And, you know, obviously, that's really important, but also the hazards are probably. So that's something that's been away, obviously, people fell off, so we had some issues, right, so. But yeah, I guess it just, because I know a lot of, I don't do a lot of re-roofing, but I do contract it out, and I know that we run into situations where I just can't see them stopping to permit something just because they reached the point where they need to replace a 2x2 section of a sheeting, so I'm just trying to figure out how that's gonna work as far as giving them the incentive. It's almost like you have to do all of the re-roofs, all of those, and follow those in the categories. But because it is something that a lot of people will, you know, not do correctly, it's because of time and money. That's a good one.
And that's kind of, the conversations that I've had with our attorney, is that, you know, we probably miss those, and if we just do a re-roofing permit for everything, then it's more simple than everything for a re-roof has a permit. And there's no line drawn in the sand when you need it, when you don't need it, you just need it. But I think part of the re-roofing would be, pictures or ground inspection of the existing roof deck. Condition before they cover it.
Yeah,
How much of the cost, or would it add a cost, or is there a current cost for the? What would that look like maybe?
Yeah, it would be its own fee. I haven't looked at fees, what we should charge fees for it. Usually I just look at other jurisdictions around us, and then we do what makes sense for. Compared to that, what makes sense for us without losing money.
Cause I mean, I'm thinking you're really putting pretty much the onus and everything on the person, so really just asking, hey. I mean, all you're gonna be able to do is leave a check anyway, right? So it's like, yeah, looks good.
Yeah, and a lot of it would be done by pictures. There's other ways they could do it in here, like they could have a certified third party, do the roof inspection, provide us with reports. They could use like a pole mounted camera, or a live video. That one's kind of interesting because we don't have a great way to capture and save a live video. So I would prefer not to have the live video and just have, you know, somebody take a video and send it to us, because then we can save that. Or, you know, pictures with.
I mean, you mentioned drones, I mean. Could you allow them to just shoot drone footage, submit it, and be good?
yeah, that's the same as we need a photo or anything.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I see a reason to start a new company.
I mean, no, we can go buy a drone. You know, you don't even have to go out and slide the thing out, you know, take a picture, fly it back.
Yeah, we've looked at that, and there's a lot of regulations with drones now and being licensed, and, I don't think that would be the best thing for us to
It'd be fun to have a swap there. So I think some of this has come up because of the older houses, right, when they pull those roofs off and the homeowner thinks that maybe it should be done differently, because re-roofing should be done differently and they're not happy with it. So they come to us and ask us to be involved with it. That's kind of how this has come up.
It also seems that most of the re-roofs are insurance bound, right? I mean, it's any house that's sold in this valley that's 10 years old, any inspector will just call that roof off. It's the easiest thing for him to do.
Right.
So then there is a form of inspection that the insurance company has to have, which can also fall in line with what you're doing. But I would say probably 80% of every roof is insurance bound to a certain extent. So that helps, but. Would you say Milton was bringing this up?
These property owners, they, you know, they had somebody come and re-roof, they pull it off and because the slats instead of, you know, the sheets.
I think for me, I can see a reason to require a permit if there's gonna be, like I said, define structural. I can see how the sheeting is called structural, but to me, I'm thinking more trusses.
Right.
I can see that for sure. One of the things for me that inspections can do a project is slow it way down. You know, if someone wants to get the roof done on the weekend, they can't do it if they have to have inspection.
Exactly.
If they pull it off, they find there's a rock spot, oh my goodness, now we gotta, you know, call the county up, and then we gotta fix that spot, wait for the county to come out. Like I said, there may be some way around it with the pictures and things like that, but I don't think the county would want the possible liability of, you know, having the house get rained on because they opened it up and found out, oh no,
All right.
now I gotta get sheeting on there. And maybe the old sheeting was, maybe they used half-inch sheeting with no H-clips.
Yeah.
And so now what do you do? You know, now they patch the one little place, now they got H-clip the whole thing, or, I don't know, I don't think the county wants to stay away from that. I can see the county wanting to be there for trusses,
Yeah.
but
And we had one in the city of Rigby where a tree fell on it a couple months ago, and so they took the tree off, and there's a couple trusses damaged, so they got a permit for that, and, what was easy about that one was they opened up inside the house too, so they just did a remodel while they were at it, so we could see everything from underneath, like we normally would be able to do. So that one was a lot more simple.
Well, and every time a truss gets broken, it has to be engineered too. You can't just slide one next to it and say you did it okay, right? You have to get it engineered. I
Yeah,
mean, to get officially, you have to have it engineered.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a tough one because what I like about it though is where you're headed is to sort of catch some of these guys that aren't doing it right. Once they get a couple of violations, once they get some things against them, then maybe that'll stop. Because there's plenty of guys that just, you know, not doing it the right way and doing it as fast as they can and doing it. So making them have inspections, but I just don't think it's gonna definitely help. Whether you do all of them or just the ones that fall into that parameter, that's a tough one. Because somebody feels like they have to get an inspection, when they see something bad, they're gonna not see something bad.
right.
yeah, it sounds like you're kind of being advised all or nothing, and I don't, that's right, that either. But I think if you get a house falling off the trusses, there may be a reason for that.
Yeah,
So I mean, if I,
Yeah, but then in that case, it's not necessarily the roof, it's not the roof per se. That's the you're inspecting, we're actually inspecting the, you know, the structure, right?
that's what I was saying,
So I don't, so even if you did that, you know, it doesn't include, it doesn't include that, you know, application of the flashing, drip edge and everything else. So, I mean, I guess my inclination would be, it's probably not a bad idea, but can you make it so that it's not onerous?
yeah,
And I mean, and then it sounds like it doesn't need to, be. Really what you're trying to do is build a photographic evidence. That it was done correctly.
yeah,
And releases the liability if they don't do so either.
Yeah.
Also, right?
Yeah, and so then the question, okay, so if that's somebody who comes and does it, we can take pictures, we won't speak to you. And you look at it, you go, no,
right,
what are you gonna do? I mean, that, to me, that's where the, you know, bias is going. Okay, what if somebody really does do a crap job?
yeah,
And you have photographic evidence that it's a crap job.
yeah,
Then does the county bear liability of the homeowner to pay somebody who, well, guys said you were gonna do the inspections and permitting and they
Yeah,
let this crap float, that makes sense, and so it's that balancing those two different things.
yeah. Yeah, and then I guess the question would be too, if we do this process for re-roofing with, you know, pictures and evidence proof, should we also be doing that with all of our new construction as well? Cause we don't have a specific roofing inspection, and new construction, and so, you know, sometimes we don't see anything, and then other times we can see them up there working on the roof. And sometimes, you know, we do sheathing inspection, when we come back for a framing, it's got a roof on it and we never saw anything.
It's a big can of worms, but.
Yeah,
It is.
I don't think the county wants to go there.
Yeah,
That's my personal opinion.
and I think if you suggest that we don't go there, then, what I would like to do is remove, in our code and in our ordinance, remove roof covering roof covering systems from inspection.
Just like Sean was saying earlier, 90% of the roofs are inspected by insurance companies, and then paying the bill, let them
It
continue.
does self-regulate itself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like there is definitely a consumer
Yeah, no, I
that
get
needs it
that.
done, it doesn't fall into insurance, a 30-year-old roof, they're an older couple.
I
We
totally
need something that saves them from possibly having, because that's just kind of the way it goes, but at the same time, I don't know how that looks. Off the top of it.
I think it's a can of worms,
It's a big one, that's why I brought it here.
I don't think we want to go there and set the county up for any kind of, because if you have photo evidence, it's wrong, then what do we do?
Right.
And
Well, it goes back to that. The contractors, like always. I mean, if they turned in the wrong pictures. Right.
Yeah, the liability.
Pictures of somebody else.
Right.
yeah, but why do we want to police that, I guess? Like,
Well, that's a big thing too, in the tract homes, where do we get our evidence from one house to another when all their roof looks the same? Where, how do we know that it's this house and it's not this house over here?
that's why I like the drone video footage. I mean, I think it captured it, right?
No, you gotta be a certified pilot, right? I'm one of the.
There is that small one, you can fly without that sort of stuff, but yeah, it's not.
I will be too that.
I mean, there's, when you're buying a house too, you have home inspectors that are looking at the roof and some of them are pretty thorough.
Yeah, the problem with that though is there's really not much they can see, I mean, it's a top there, that's good.
Right.
Yeah, true.
What is the county, I mean, the county,
Okay, right?
they don't expect it, they don't have anything, right?
There's not a lot
Yeah.
of counties around us. I had asked the surrounding counties if, any of them even get on a roof.
Right.
And all the ones, 4 or 5 different jurisdictions that responded to me and they don't get on a roof.
Yeah, that for years, that happened.
The only inspector I've ever had on the roof was Jefferson County inspector.
Last one, we had to provide a ladder.
Yeah, like, out there, and he'd walk over the entire roof. Each foot.
Haven't heard that name for a while. Yeah, that was scary as a contractor, though,
Yeah,
to
he only
provide
did it-
a ladder for somebody to get up there.
He only
Like,
did it for
what?
like maybe a few months and then they.
Well, somebody fell, somebody fell, right? Was it, I don't think it was heroes, somebody fell.
We had somebody injured here.
Well, yeah, just recently, the guy who fell off and he got the roof, right? He was like inspecting for like 2 days or something. Just
Yeah.
when he started.
Yeah, I think he had
up
an
and he
injury or something and then he came back and fell and.
Yeah, that was neat. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't, not that you're done with this subject, but, another thing that we're not inspecting, or maybe you are, is shower pans. Is that something we're not doing also at that?
Right, we don't inspect the actual fan, we'll inspect the tile backer, but not the fan.
Am I wrong? Ammon does the test too, right?
So
Pretty sure Ammon does.
so the last big shower I did in our whole day. Filled with water.
I had to sit for an inch or 2 inches of water and it had to be there 24 hours. Yeah. Yeah, I just think that that's a big one. Not that I need to reintroduce anything, but that's a big one for me, just because,
That would be something that I would be more worried about.
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Fitting under your.
It's a tile job, and so it's not before, it's after the rough-in inspection for the plumbing, but it could happen at the same time, and it's supposed to kind of, but mainly it's been something that we take a photo of it at the beginning of it, and then do a time lapse 24 hours later, take another photo of it.
So it's still,
And it has to hold the water.
still just photographic though.
Those have been for me, but
So.
the inspectors used to do it, they used to have to come out and do it, you have to wait for them before the tile guys go full of water. But to me, those are the things that fail the most.
Is that Idaho Falls or Bonneville?
I don't fault, well, City of Idaho Falls does it for sure, and Ammon does it for sure. I don't think Bonneville County does it for sure.
Okay.
Doesn't do it, right? Yeah. And Shelley doesn't do it, or Bingham County does not do it either. But 2 other counties I know for sure do. And the only reason why I'm bringing it up is just because you see it, and it's not today or tomorrow, it's 5 years after the house gets built, and it fails, and everybody's pissed off, and that's a big deal, and it's a lot of money, and so it's just. It's something, you know. Yeah, because of that, yeah,
It's like the shower panel would have been right.
yeah,
It's not a parent's issue, it's a.
well, yeah,
So how do they do that? After you're done.
it's just a flood, like, you know, the flood insurance, and stuff and that, it doesn't, you can't find liability for somebody else who's responsible for it, it's just hard to prove with what happened.
So I tore one out.
Yeah, there you go.
And the engineer, you know, they were down, luckily the basement was something. So they're down in the basement, they go down with water. So they call the contractors, turn it out. Not so I went out and looked at it and like. It's a shower pan. So they called the homeowner engineers, one of the engineers, not, so it's a brand new house, it's a shower pan. It's not a- Somebody tore it out and they.
Yeah, we dealt with it before.
Yeah, so it's a good suggestion. I'd like to stay on the agenda. And
I'm sorry.
I can bring that.
I decided on my notes because it is something important, and when you talk about water leaks, I just thought, well, this one has to come up, so.
So do you need anything from us on the rooftop?
I mean, mainly I'm just looking for suggestions and, I didn't want to make that decision one way or another by myself.
I think you need to do all of them or none of them, and I would say none.
I would concur. It's just too big of a. It's too big.
Yeah, and I think, you know, maybe it's not that it's even our purview, but we're wisdom to the people doing it, to take photographic evidence of your work. I mean, in the world I live in, I document everything. Right, I mean, didn't just do that. When I built my home, I actually have, you know, gigabytes worth of photos, everything I did, where I put stuff, where I buried it, everything else, so I can come back to it. You know, again, not that you want to regulate that, but it seems like it might be good practice. I mean, let's face it. It's not like the old days when you had to take roll of film and pay $10 to get it developed. I mean, hell, my kids had millions of photos. I don't know how they're doing it. Okay.
Yeah, we can be done without.
Those 4 no's just for the record.
And then, item number 5, discuss building height, which is a very appropriate topic.
Yes. So it was.
Into and including, how far do we need to be back from the property line?
Oh, we don't have time for
So it was recently brought to my attention that the Hamer Fire District doesn't have the capability to fight fires 2 stories.
I might want to invite him up.
Would you like to come speak
We
more?
don't have the capability.
Yeah, that's.
Six starts.
Yeah, let's start there.
It's turning pressure up.
He's like, we.
Turning pressure.
Turn it down. He's that. I'll leave that.
No, the question I had was since the county doesn't have any more height restrictions with not just Hammer, but with the other rural fire departments. You know, we have 2-story houses. We can have, everybody wants to have the bigger house, taller house. And you know, to reach the 2-story right now, get on the roof, then can. Yeah, we can sit back with our truck and plump water on top of it. And as soon as it burns through, then the water, you know. But I was just, I guess, question was on these taller structures, should they have to have, required to have a sprinkler system inside of it?
I don't know, the sprinkler system thing, been back and forth for the last 20 years, that's what keeps going.
What I hate.
No, I get you.
Yeah, so the sprinkler system thing though, is I've done both the buildings that have had fires with the sprinkler system. And when most of the sprinklers come on, we're getting 50% loss. But.
Either way, it's 100%.
But you're right, but the loss of life should be less, because it, I mean, usually you withstand the sprinkler to a fire. But like,
You can withstand the water more than you can withstand the smoke.
yeah, from a build, from like. It's a total, I told her 40 lots either way. But.
No, I get
loss of
that.
Life could be.
It
Very.
costs too, I mean, when you do a system inside of a home, I mean, you're looking at about $15,000 to $20,000.
The problem is the system, it's that you're not gonna have enough water.
Okay.
That's usually where we'll run into, cause I've done
Pressure
several,
tank runs
I've
out.
done several homes that have. So the last home I did with fire sprinkler was a 16,000 square foot home. We had to do 3 wells on the property, and then we did a 16,000 gallon storage tank, so we had to have 100 gallons a minute for, I can't remember how many there. So he had $350,000.
Yeah.
Which.
Well-
If you're.
Yeah.
So, but still, so
Sure.
that's still gonna be $35,000 if you go to 1,600 square foot home, like on it.
No, but there's other systems out there that don't necessarily have to be loaded, right? They can be dry.
Yeah, but. Right, scary
Still,
too,
you
because
still
then it
gotta have,
affects
you
the
still gotta
operator.
have, still gotta have supply for it, right?
So.
I mean, I assume you're referring to a dry pipe,
So
Right.
where I get into that is every time I turn around and every time I turn in a bid, every person I ever give a bid to, or an estimate to, is just a poor guy trying to get into a home, and the builders are just screwing them over. And if you look at it, like more than inflation, more than the cost of anything, thing that's driven up costs more than anything, inflation, anything you can think of is government regulation. So obviously, when somebody's paying for it, they don't want to pay for it, but when they're dying, then obviously they want to. So it's a tough situation to get into, because like you look at the insulation restrictions, and they've got us insulating houses so tight that now we gotta bring in fresh air. So is it really a better deal bringing in fresh air than to just have an old home that breathe? Because it's all of those things are, all of those things are adding costs. And both of my kids live at home right now because I have no idea how they're gonna afford.
Well, so in my mind, it comes down to, you're either, if we're not dealing with the fire department and trying to address it that way, the homeowner's gonna be paying higher insurance, right? Because if the fire department can't fight the fire,
So,
their house rates go.
was this location?
It is location based. Central Fire.
There's a problem in Hayward just because of.
But Central Fire's only had a ladder truck.
Well, it's not the
It's
same.
equipment availability, though.
Well, it's
I guess that's
Hayward and
what-
Roberts and, yeah, it's Hayward and Roberts and I don't know, Flood Lake has one.
So,
No, we don't have it then.
well, it's equipment, I mean, it's equipment availability. One issue, I guess, but.
On one side of it.
And then, so based on that, though, what is there, are there consensus codes that give some guidance? In terms of that, I mean, like an FDA code or anything that.
Well, and so,
In addition to an IBC, because I know IBC just is not going to train them every goal.
so Bonneville County requires sprinklers in homes on lots larger than 5 acres. Oh, you haven't run into that over there? Oh, that's what. That's what
4 or
we
5
heard.
acres, no matter how big the house is, they're
Yeah.
requiring a sprinkler system.
That's what we heard.
Unless it's. So,
Did the sprinkler system thing.
last house I built over 5 acres 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice. Okay,
yeah, I don't, I'll check on that code.
that's why we,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm saying that was not,
well, and that was the other question, was because the state took sprinklers out of the code,
yeah.
right? And so, do we have the ability to even put it back in the code? So their sprinklers really even an option.
Well, I mean, from what I've seen over the last, there's no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and in fact, just the notion of it would bring up so much headache that it wouldn't be worth it just to bring it up.
Oh, that,
Wyoming.
but they were over 10,000.
And the insurance company was probably maybe Hill County. Because of the size of the home or because of the. And so this is more, we're discussing this because of the building heights and the lack of ability to get up there. And so, what would you be asking though, like to restrict building heights and femur and the lake in these areas? I mean, that would be impossible.
I don't know what the answer
It's a
is.
tough situation because you guys collect a lot of impact fees, not on residential, but on like what I pay in commercial impact fees. Every fire department should be have or we.
They don't,
We don't.
I know.
they're not included in it, only sent for fire.
I'm an ex-volunteer firefighter, I get it.
You know, I mean, because, yeah, to an extent, it's an equipment issue, but to update to and house one of those ladder trucks, you have to raise tax.
No, and I'm not insinuating
That's
that's what we need.
first thing
I'm
that has
just
to
trying to figure out, I mean, the issue is. If you had the right equipment, it would not be as much of an issue.
No, it probably wouldn't. You had a ladder truck that would reach 80 feet and you can put an inch and a half line on it or 2 inch, whatever, go to the top of the spray nozzle, at least you can get to the top of the roof. You know, I mean, we do, we have 2 houses out there right now that are 2-story.
So you have to
Take enough ladders together to climb it, who really wants to climb that ladder to get up on top of it, you know, anyway. We probably would figure out, I guess, some way to do it, but. You know, and it's like.
What's the proposal then? I mean, what
I was just asking,
Well,
what's
yeah,
the
we're not
proposal?
talking about it.
It's not in the code, so.
I'm brought forth the concern and I think. Yeah, I mean.
I mean, there are not height limits in the county and.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah, and so
there,
Sky should be the limit, because the insurance company's gonna regulate. It really is. Like, and the structure's gonna catch fire and burn, and we're gonna let it burn, or we're gonna destroy it with water. So, at the end of the day, it's a total loss either.
other than my.
Yeah, other than life, but
I mean, you're gonna survive.
they're gonna die of the smoke before the fire gets them.
You know, people will buy 4-year-old vehicles because they say something to drive, and that might not be safe, and we're not gonna regulate that either. You know, this country, was still pretty heavily a buyer beware market. You know, some of you just those things that they know about, but the buyers still has to do their due diligence. You think about someone buying a house in Hamer that's too tall, you know, they need to be aware of it, so I think they need to have the right to make that decision. They need to know that the house is not gonna be protected. Your insurance company will definitely wanna find that out.
You know, it's easy to say sit here, but when you're the firefighter on the job, there's not a damn thing you can do.
Yeah.
That's really frustrating.
Yeah, sure. No, I know.
When the top story's on fire, we're not going inside.
Right.
You're not gonna be from.
Yeah, it's not.
So at that point, we're just trying to not let anything happen.
Let's go back to our inspection on fire blocking and all the things that prevent that in the 2-hour, you know, I mean, those are. Things that sometimes we miss.
I just hate to give more freedom than we have away because we have government agencies concerned for. I don't know, you know what I mean? I get it.
Guys, and,
Yeah, no, I get it.
but I'm with you, because that's the thing is. I hate to turn over a bid these days, I mean, I feel like I'm making less per dollar than I have in the past, but they're the biggest bids I've ever given out, because the cost of everything is ridiculous, everything.
Right.
And, you know, you turn it over. Whoa, how, there's so much money, we need to build for this. This, you know, it's. Restrictions are by far the biggest driver to drive our costs, that really doesn't really build money.
Yeah, we got that session, yeah, planning is only a lot of.
I'm in the game here just to hear what you're going, how would you say that?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Okay.
But since you're here though, let me ask, what would come back from the Haver fire? What would they ask for?
I don't know. You know, that, we had a structure out there that we asked for a sprinkler system anyway, just with the standpipe that we can hook onto and. You know, I mean, in a situation like that, we have.
See, to me, that
10,000
makes,
gallons of water
to me,
on
that
the-
makes perfect sense.
And a standpipe,
But
all we gotta do is hook on to it, dry all the time, doesn't freeze. If there was the issue,
Crank on
we
it.
can hook onto it and crank the water on. And maybe, yeah, there would be water damage. I'm not gonna say there
I
would not
think,
be.
I think that's probably something though that is worth consideration. Because that would not be.
Water damage and fire damage. I mean, at that point, it's common, it
Yeah, I
doesn't
know.
matter, but if somebody's
I know.
in there, at least maybe it gets the chance. to get out.
Right.
But, yeah, and, you know, we've had our share of house fires. We've had our share of house fires where we can't find the occupant. So we are going and stuff. But they're all single stories. And 99.5% of them are single story house. But. Point is, that through the whole county and not just in our district. With no height restrictions, the buildings are getting taller and taller and taller. And it will burn somebody down.
And I mean, I think there is some merit though to a dry sandbox system, just even for consideration for the world.
But I know, house lot to build a house. Contractors make all money, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, man, I'm not, I don't like necessarily government regulation myself, you know, but we have stuff to deal with. And the heights of buildings is something, you know, it does need to be dealt with somehow, I think.
I mean, I think it's worth further consider, at least if nothing else consideration. I mean, I just think we need to be thinking about it.
Well, let's have the attorney look it over and see what it looks like.
Right.
Code, in that building code, not that, so.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have.
And maybe no.
Yeah. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Moved in second to adjourn, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries, thanks for coming, guys.